All right, welcome everyone to tonight's training. We are going to kind of catch up on things. We have a few months left in this budget year, so we'll be focusing on where we still have funding, what we need to accomplish to fulfill our contract that supplies our funding, and just some miscellaneous things. So, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being on the call. I love that everyone made it tonight. Thank you. So, first things first, our next newsletter is quickly approaching. We do 3 newsletters within our contract or budget year. So, 3 newsletters within a budget year, and this is our last one for this budget. I am looking for any articles, events, or other suggestions or submissions to be turned in to me by January 25th, whether this is something that you write yourself or if it's something that you've seen somewhere that you thought would be helpful, anything like that, please send it to me by January 25th. If you want to have something included but don't think you'd be able to finish it by that date, let me know and we can maybe work on that. It does take me time to get that into the newsletter format, and then it takes time for Lucy and Lydia to translate. And Lydia is actually expecting in February 16th. So with that being said, I don't know how much time she's going to have to translate or if she'll even be available. So I want to allow them as much time as they need to get that work done and not feel pressured. But I would like to have it completed by the end of the month, by the end of February. We always have a section in the newsletter called the Spotlight section, and typically that is where we highlight a child with hearing loss or a young adult with hearing loss and something that they've accomplished or participated in, whether that's been a summer camp, theater experience, if they are involved with a musical instrument or received an award. We've had various submissions over the years for that section. But the purpose is to give that idea that they can do anything and, you know, give inspiration to other children and parents. So if you have any thoughts on that, or maybe you have a family that you think would be a great addition to include their child in that area, please, again, reach out to me, and we'll go from there. And now, participating in the newsletter, if you contribute something, that is 5 LRP points. So keep that in mind as well. I had sent this out in the email today, all the various dates that we have coming up. There are quite a few, so I took a snapshot of this slide and included it in the email, hoping that you would be able to keep it someplace to refer to over the next coming months. So we have calls for all every month, or 8, I think it's 8 or 9 months out of the year. So with that being said, I just wanted to highlight the one that's happening this month that's left as our call for all in English on the 25th, and that's going to be about the hearing itinerant services and what they do. And it's specifically a hearing itinerant leading that presentation. We do have calls for all in Spanish set up for February and March, and then also our calls for all in English set up for February and March. I just didn't include them in these save the dates here. You can refer to the flyer for that. February 5th, Parent Achievement Award nominations are due. So if you want to nominate somebody, you can go online to the SurveyMonkey link and enter the nomination that way, or you can fill out the nomination form, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. After the 5th, we will take those that have been nominated and open them to a voting. A new link will be sent out for voting for those that have been nominated, and that will be open for that 1 week in February. And then on February 16th, that recipient will be announced. And then on the 26th, during Eddie Day, that award will be given to the recipient. And we'll be talking more about Eddie Day as well further in this presentation. March 4th and 5th is the ITHY coverage, and, you know, old habits here. ITHY is not really called ITHY anymore. Their acronym is now ITHDDC. Yeah. So, but same idea, and we'll be talking about ITHY again later in the presentation, and we'll be talking about this booth coverage. Mom's Night In coming up. We're going to start off with our central one, the one in Springfield in March, and the one in the Lisle-Naperville area in April. And then May 21st is our I don't know. It wouldn't be biannual. I don't know. Anyhow, we're hosting our walk this year. This is our fundraiser for the year, and that will be May 21st in Springfield. Again, we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. All right, so Parent Achievement Award nominations. Again, we just discussed these dates. Encourage families to nominate someone. Again, this parent can be somebody that's just gone above and beyond, whether they're helping other families, whether they're connecting other families. You know, it could be a varying degree of what they're doing. Maybe they're helping push legislation for hearing aid coverage, or you know, maybe they're doing something within their school district to improve services for children. But anyone can nominate someone, whether that's a parent or a professional. There is the online link here, and I can send that out in an email, so you can use the link just clicking on it. And we also have a paper nomination form, and you guys can vote, and you can also be nominated. So, you know, just because you're a guy doesn't mean you can't receive one of these awards. And this is what the mail-in form looks like. The online form pretty much asks the same questions. It's just quick and easy because you can type it in and be done. So Eddie Day is going to look a little bit different this year. Eddie Day has been held by Choices for Parents in the past, and in the past it's essentially just been maybe a few hours in the day. Last year it was more of a full-day event. But what they're doing this year is it's going to be held at Northwestern University. They're hosting it. They are making a full day of presentations with then in the middle a luncheon with the award ceremony. So a little bit more on that coming up here. The idea is to have this really geared towards families. So they really want families to partake in this day, the presentations and stuff. They're actually looking at trying to set up child care. It isn't set in stone yet, so don't promise that to parents, but they are looking at the feasibility of that. Again, lunch is included. I have 2 links for registering here because I've seen 2 links. So there you have it. But if you're looking to participate in that, you do need to register because there is a limited amount of space. So I don't know what the topics look like, but again, from what I understand, they're really geared towards families and parents. Mom's Night In. So same feel at both locations, whether it's Central Illinois or North. Again, the dates. Now, Central Illinois is going to be on the end of the IFE conference. So I just threw it out there, and we'll be talking about it in a minute, that I do need somebody to work the booth during the IFE conference. So if you were doing that, maybe then you'd want to continue that weekend by participating in Mom's Night In. So you don't necessarily have to be from Central Illinois. You know, you can do the IFE conference and then also participate in Mom's Night In. Okay. Mom's Night In, if you haven't participated, and I think most of you have, it's an opportunity for moms to get together or female caregivers. We've had grandmas participate and so forth before, aunties, but it's an opportunity for us to relax, unwind, meet other people, get to talk with other people, learn from each other's experiences, make connections. We have an opportunity for massages and manicures and dinner, breakfast, and so forth, and just really have an opportunity to have a weekend for you or for the moms. And so discussing this with Andrea, she had come up with a sliding scale reduced rate here if you are able to encourage families to register for Mom's Night In. So if you have one family register for Mom's Night In, you only pay $75 for a shared room. If you have two families register, it's $55 for a shared room. If you have three families register, it's $35 for a shared room. And if you have four or more families register, your room would be free. So just something to consider. And definitely encourage families to attend. Talk about it everywhere. Please, please, please. So, Mom's Night In. Before Mom's Night In, like I said, sorry guys, is the ITDHH conference, and we will have a booth. DSCC is going to sponsor at the platinum level, which gives them a booth, and they are sharing it with us again. So essentially we'd be sharing the table with them and helping not only promote our organizations, but DSCC as well if the DSCC rep steps away. I do need to turn in names of who would be covering the booth, and if we do have more than one person, that is fine. Only one person can claim the lunch and the breakfast, but if we have more than one person covering at the same time, or more than one person covering that day, or one person doing Friday, one person doing Saturday, however it works out, I need to turn in the names. And I need to do that sooner than later, so if you are interested, please email me and let me know. Each day, so Friday and Saturday, is a full day outreach of $90. Breakfast and lunch, like I said, is included. Now, there's no lunch on Saturday because it ends at noon, so it would only be breakfast that day. You do earn LRP points, so you earn 5 points a day, and there is the possibility to attend sessions. And, you know, that would be, obviously, sessions happen, and there's less people coming to the booth. So if you scout out the schedule and you find a session or two that you're interested in, I'm sure you'd be able to work it with whoever's covering the booth from DSCC if you can escape for one of the half-hour time slots to participate in one of the sessions. So just keep in mind, because we are co-manning this booth, just, again, keep it professional, and we certainly want to make a good impression with them as they are very helpful in funding and providing the contract for our program. So, all right, there you go. Let's see what's next. Our walk. So again, just like we had before at Southwind Park on May 21st, this is a Saturday. I'm not quite sure on the time frame. I don't remember that as well as Andrea has. But I'm sure it's in the notes somewhere. And we've got a little time to let you guys know what that time frame looks like. We do ask that all board members and guides participate on a subcommittee. So here are the subcommittees: logistics, public relations, sponsors and activities. Take a look and see where you're at. Hopefully you've been in touch with the person that's name is in bold. They are your committee chair, and they're the ones kind of leading you and setting up assignments and the person to ask the questions if you have any questions for your subcommittee. The next committee call for the whole committee is on January 20th at 9 p.m., so that's tomorrow night. So make sure that you can try to make that call. Essentially, it's nothing that you need to participate in, so don't stress if you're in the car, if you are worried about background noise or anything like that. You can have your phone on mute and just listen in. It's a nice way to get an update and hear what's happening from each committee chair. So the only ones really presenting that night are the committee chairs, and they're going to give everyone an update of what happened so far within their subcommittee. And just so all of us can stay on board. You can earn LRP points. You get 10 points for participating on a committee. And then if you actually are at the event, you would get 5 points for assisting with a chapter event. All right, FEO events. Oh, man. So we have tried our very best to schedule events, and either they've been poorly attended or we've had to cancel due to weather. So here's the thing. You guys have also been awesome at being frugal, which is great, but we have quite a bit of money left still in the budget, even though we've had several events take place. So with that being said, we need to get on the stick and plan out a couple more events, and we do have some flexibility because we do have a larger budget still in place for this line item. So we can talk and maybe we can do a little bit more than maybe we've done in the past. This is a senior level LRP item, an opportunity to earn 10 points. Typically, your FEO events is an hour and a half to 2 hours. I will create the flyer. So if you figure out what you're going to do, you just tell me when, where, and who, and I will create the flyer and get it back to you. So there's no stress there. All you have to do from there on out is just accept the RSVPs. Typically, we budget $100 at the event, and that's to cover the cost of possibly the location or giveaways or activities. So again, we can talk on that. We might be able to do a little bit more at a location if we need to. So I do have some location suggestions on the next slide, but what has worked in the past has been gatherings at McDonald's, in the play place area, at libraries, doing a reading event, crafts and such, at kids museums, and at play places. I know we did one at a place in Mundelein, and it had various things for kids to do, from inflatables to little go-karts and a rock wall or something like that. Those have worked in the past, but we really do, again, we only have until April 1st to pull these off. We have to get it done before then, the money's spent before then. So I need to know who is interested. If you've done one before and you want to do one again, great, meaning this budget year. And I'd hope that you would consider it. I'd really like to get some in other areas of the state as well. So anyone on the call tonight want to talk about this, want to throw out some suggestions or ask a question or commit to trying to set something up?
Hi, Carrie. This is Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
I would be happy to work on some events. I know Lucy and I had tried to do the one at Child's Voice. We could look at dates for possibly doing that again, and I will see if I can come up with something else, too, maybe at Cole's Children's Museum.
Okay. Wonderful. And I don't know how far Lake Zurich is for you, but Jack works at Treehouse, which is a kids' play place, an indoor play place. And
right.
So I was considering calling the owner and asking if we can get a discount, because typically I think it's $10.50 per kid to enter. But I was going to see if we could get a discounted rate, kind of talk to her and see what days of the week or time frames are slower, and maybe we can fit in some place and get a deal.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, so there you have it. And with the Treehouse, if anyone's not familiar with it, it's kids up to age 14 can play, but they do have a separate section for kids, I think either under a year or under 2 years old, where it's actually fenced or gated in, so that little ones can't escape and the big ones can't bother them. So just throwing that out there. Here are some suggestions of things that we have done in the past, things that we have thought of, and so forth. So take a look here, see if anything like that strikes your fancy. But, you know, hopefully this year we won't have as many issues with snow as we've had in the years past. It just so happened that one weekend at Child's Voice was the weekend of snow. But, yeah, hopefully we can make something work. Hopefully families will start feeling stir-crazy and want to get out. And keep in mind, too, you don't have to do a weekend. You know, if you want to try a weeknight or something like that, you know, we can give it a whirl. You never know until we try. All right. And for those that have messaged that you're interested, I'll catch up with you guys through email, or we'll chat on the phone and we'll get that rolling. All right, so calls for all. We do have them in English and Spanish. They are not the same topic each month. At least at this time, they are not. If you attend the call for all, you do get paid 1 hour training time if you attend it live. Just want to remind you of that. All calls are at 8:30 Central Standard Time. The reason why I bring that up is I'm going to ask you to share this in the various groups that you maybe message with, whether it's on social media or that's maybe in online like Yahoo groups or so forth. If you can share the flyers, that's great, but I have not put on the flyer that it's Central Standard Time. So if you share it, just put in the notes or, you know, in your message that the time zone is Central Standard Time. So this month is the Hearing Itinerant Teacher for the call in English. February's English call will be working with hearing loss and additional disabilities. March, the English call will be cued speech and how it supports English acquisition. Our Spanish calls, the one in February, of course it will be in Spanish, but the topic is the transition from hearing aids to cochlear implants. And the March call will be what to expect in the years to follow after cochlear implantation. The Spanish calls are facilitated by Lydia, and the guest speaker has been Alejandra Ulari. She is a audiologist in Chicago and speaks Spanish. So that's that for the first portion of my Talking on Calls for All. But again, you're paid an hour training time if you attend live. Please share with providers. Let them know that these calls are happening and that they're, they can participate in too. It just doesn't have to be parents. All of them have been recorded and are recorded, and then will be available on the Sound Beginnings website. So, you can access it later or somebody can access it later. Now, the Spanish calls have not been, how do I put it? They have to, the file format has to be transferred to a different file format before they're uploaded to the website. So that transition hasn't happened yet, but they are working on it, and hopefully it will happen soon. And again, you do not need to be from Illinois to participate in these calls, so please share, share, share. I'd really like to increase the attendance at these calls. You do get LRP points. If you have a family that participates in the call, you get 2 points. And you get 5 points for yourself because we will consider this a training. Remember, I don't keep track of these points. This is up to you. So please go ahead and keep track of those on your timesheet. Okay. Outreach. This is another area that we got to catch up on. Again, this funding needs to be used before April 1st. There are many opportunities left, and you get 5 LRP points per outreach. We have $20 outreaches, which are phone outreaches. We have $40 outreaches, which is an outreach that lasts it's in person, first of all, and it's anything up to 4 hours. And then $90 outreaches, which is anything, again, in person that's beyond 4 hours. And in the parentheses after those outreaches, I have how many we have left in our budget with a question mark. And the reason why I have a question mark is, for instance, if maybe we don't use all our 90 outreaches, we can take that funding and break it up in between 40 and 20 outreaches, so that the 40 and 20 outreaches numbers could go up, and vice versa. So that's why, we can give or take within those areas, but approximately that is how many that is left. Now, I will be talking with Ginger probably tomorrow. She has some suggestions of providers that she would like us to reach out to. So I will have some ideas if you don't have any ideas yourself, but we are looking for people to participate and get this outreach done before April 1st. With that being said, I would really like somebody to manage the remaining outreaches for this budget. So what I mean by that is you will know how much money we have left in the budget, essentially, and you will know who wants to participate in this outreach, and they will commit to so many outreaches to you, and then you'll follow up with them and make sure that they're completing those outreaches before April 1st, and then turning the appropriate forms in and whatnot before April 1st. So our budget zeroes, it balances out. Okay, if you do that, if you manage this outreach for me and keep track of who's doing what, you will receive 5 LRP points a month for assisting the coordinator. You'll also receive mentoring other guides as the lead position, And why is that considered mentoring? Because they will probably ask you questions. What do I need to bring? What do I need to do? Who do I need to call? And so forth. And so you'll be guiding them in that. And you also then, for each person you mentor, you will receive 5 points. With that being said, I have counted like the ITDHH, and I don't know why I keep putting C on the end, probably because of the conference, but anyhow, the Illinois Teachers of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, I've already accounted for that in our $90 outreaches, but I do need somebody to oversee that booth, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. So I think that's it. Anyone interested in doing some outreaches? Kristen? Anyone else want to commit?
Carrie, this is Melissa Asbury. We've had some changes in some audiologists and offices around this area, so I can reach out to those and again to our local offices around here.
Yeah, and
yeah, this is Anita speaking. I'd be interested in the outreach in the local area, outlying areas.
Okay. So I can touch base with you guys, and we can work out what contacts we want to look forward to, what contacts you're thinking of. So if you have some in mind, then you can discuss those with the person that will be managing the outreach. The reason being is I don't want you doing the outreach and then having somebody do the outreach to the same person. So that's why we just want to make sure we discuss it before you do it. And the other reason being is I don't want to do outreach to somebody that might not be the biggest bang for our buck, okay? I do see potential in reaching out to the CFC offices because things have been a little squirrely there with no budget in Illinois. So I don't know what the office personnel looks like even in a CFC office right now. Did they have a lot of turnover? With them not really accepting, with the qualifications being higher, I guess, for a family, you know, what does that look like on their end? Do they have less staff because they have less families? I don't know. But with that being said, it doesn't hurt to check in possibly. So we've got some ideas, and we've got some different areas to look into. You know, we'll kind of go from there. I've got, like I said, those that have messaged me or have spoken up on the phone, I will touch base with you. And like I said, hopefully we can get something rolling and get this finished before the budget year rolls over. Hiring. Oh, what to do. So Lucy has moved so that leaves only one Spanish-speaking guide in Cook County. So do we explore another Spanish-speaking guide in Cook County? I don't know. You know, so many things to consider. Chicago, most of you guys in Chicago are working full-time, which leaves you limited time for guide by your side. I understand, I get it, I don't want to stress you out, but if you don't have the time to even turn in a timesheet, it makes me think, do you even have time to talk with families? So we really need to take a look at Cook County coverage. So that's why I put Chicago. Turquoise is Kane, Kendall, and DuPage. That was where Andrea and Pauline were at. And now that Andrea's primarily on our consultant end of things, and Hands and Voices and Pauline is gone, we need to look at possible coverage for there. And then Orange, which is way on the west side of Illinois there, Melissa covers, she kind of floats between purple and orange, but, you know, it would be nice to have somebody in that area. But that being said, how likely are we to even get referrals from there? So that's that. I have a possible timeline here if we did look at hiring, but I want to hear from you guys first. I need to know where you're at, if you're ready to stay on board for another year, or if you just are done, if it's too much for you. I need to know. So again, I'll be touching base with folks, and we'll kind of go from there. If you don't hear from me but you want to talk to me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I want to make sure that we're all good to go. All right, so annual training, I've had this out before, but just in case, it's happening June 20th and 21st at the ISU Alumni Center in Normal, Illinois. We are sharing rooms. We will be participating in the Bridges Conference as part of our training. This conference is for deaf and hard of hearing educators, for DCHs and so forth, and they extended the invitation to participate in the conference to our team. In return, they had asked if each one of us could introduce ourselves to the attendees so they can kind of put a face with a name. That will also give you an opportunity to meet other providers from your area, which hopefully would increase our referrals. Our referrals have been really down, so we need to kind of work on that, which, again, if we do the outreach, those numbers should go back up. And then we will also have some of you, and this will not be a surprise, we will figure this out before we get to Bridges, but we will also have some of you share samples of how you have helped families. Why was it beneficial for that family to have a guide? What did you do for them that they wouldn't have gotten if they did not have a guide there to support them? So if you have a great example that you think would, be something that would stand out to them, please don't hesitate to let me know, and we can make that part of that little snippet there that they want to see. All right, so I'm going to just do it again because the timesheets are still a little bit of a hot mess for some folks. Now that everyone's on the call tonight, everyone's going to know, and then if anything goes astray from here on out, I will let you know. First of all, you need to turn in a timesheet. Many of you have not. So please, please, please catch up, start over, whatever you need to do, but start turning in one timesheet a month, please. If we don't use the budget and we fall short, or, we're short, they have access, however you look at it, come April 1, then they're going to say, okay, well, the next year you don't need that much money, and that won't help us. So please do what you can to get those in. First of all, on your timesheets, please put your items in date order. Make sure that all those pretty little columns on your timesheet are filled in. Now, obviously, like travel time, that might not be something that you have to fill in, but please acknowledge it by even putting a little dash in there, because I think what happens is you just skip one column and then you just keep skipping all the columns. So if you maybe have to just even a little dash in there, maybe that'll keep you going on the rest of them. Any attachments, so you've done an outreach, you have done a training or something where you're going to get paid additional time and you have to fill out an additional form, those need to come in with the timesheets. If you do not, then I will hold your timesheet until those items are submitted. If you have multiple timesheets, that's a great thing. Please do not total up until the last timesheet. So if the first timesheet's 6 hours and the second timesheet's 5 hours, I should only see a total of 11 on the very last timesheet. Okay, I don't want to see a 6 on the first timesheet and a 5 on the second, because then that just confuses me. All right. What else? All right, so here's the timesheet. I do have one more slide after this, but again, I think most of these you guys should be filling in. Mileage time would be the only one, or additional expenses would be the only one that you might not fill in something in each time. Family region colors. So if you go back to that hiring map, and I'd mentioned like turquoise and orange, some of you guys serve families outside of your colored region. So if you're a Cook County person, you're brown, but your family's in red, then you need to, make sure that you put their family color on there, especially because when I submit the invoices, I need to account for which regions are receiving services and how many hours of services in those regions. So that's why I need to know that. Okay. All right. LRP on timesheets. So the very bottom of the timesheet is for LRP is. Only list the level if that activity checks off a box in that level. So if you are mentoring a guide for the lead level, then that's when you would say lead, that you're mentoring a guide lead level. And if it gets points too, then you'd put 5 points. But otherwise, if it's just an activity like participating on a committee, then you would just put that plus whatever level it is. You don't put in any points. Now, if it's something that's just points, like submitting an article for the newsletter, that doesn't have a level with it, so you just leave the level area blank and then put in 5 points for submitting an article in the newsletter. On timesheets, expenses, if you, say, are putting in a receipt for an FEO event, remember, we do not reimburse for tax. So if you have forgotten to turn in the tax-exempt form when you did the purchase, then that tax will be coming out of your pocket. So you will only be reimbursed for the pre-tax amount. So you only list the pre-tax amount on your timesheet. But do know that you do have the opportunity to turn in, with your purchase, a tax-exempt form, and if you don't have that form, I believe it's available in Trello, and I can also get that to you. And last but not least, turn in your timesheet once a month. Please, 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 at least once a month, turn in a timesheet, even if it's just 2 hours. 2 hours of training, you've talked to no families, okay. But you should all be close to 2 hours a month just between trainings. All right, and here's the bottom of the form. So again, for LRP in the top set of boxes, your activity would be mentoring a guide. That's the lead level, and then you do receive 5 points for that. So that's how you would fill it in. And then the very bottom there is for the outreach. So then you would fill that part in. And I believe that is it. So, any questions?
Carrie, this is Melissa Asbury.
Yes.
I have a question. With our LRP, once we've received all of our points, do we have to continue getting points to stay at that level?
Yes, you do need to achieve at least 50 points a year. And
Okay.
you need to report that because I need to report that to National. They want to see that guides are active and still actively participating. So great question. All right. Now, Krista had asked if you drop off brochures, what kind of outreach is that? So my question would be, do you drop off boy, I'm having a hard time talking tonight. Do you drop off brochures and speak with somebody for a few minutes, or are you just literally, you know, dropping off the brochures saying, hi, my name's Krista, and you're turning around and leaving? If it's the second option, then I would say follow up with a phone call and say, or maybe the phone call preceded the dropping off the brochures. Either way, include a phone call with that so that you can do the $20 outreach. If you're dropping off brochures and you do get a chance to speak to somebody for, you know, a period of time, then I would say that you could count that as a $40 outreach. But please remember that you got to fill in all areas of the outreach form. We can't turn in an outreach. Hold on 1 minute, Anita. Anita, wait 1 minute. You can't turn in an outreach form with areas of the outreach form blank. So please keep that in mind that every line on that outreach form needs to be filled in, okay? Anita, you can go ahead now.
Okay. Let's go back to talking about the hiring, the state hiring, the state infill. I'm sorry. Do we have to pick one for every region? Is that what that is? For the state? What does that mean? Where it's for the hiring? It says the state. Do you hire one for every region? Is that how that works?
So this is Carrie. On that map, the state map for our team, we are the ones that created those colored regions. And yes, I do like to have at least one guide in every region. Some regions which are a little bit larger or have more populated areas will have more than one guide.
Because I was looking at the map, the black part of the map, the black box in each the color region. What the black box? What does that mean?
The little black boxes within the regions are people's names. So
yeah, that's a black box.
Yeah.
That black box. It covers. I see it all over the place, and I can't. It's too small. What is it? I can't see. It's too small. What is it? It says some of them are in different areas. I'm not quite sure what those boxes are.
Black boxes have the guide's name. So within the green region in the McLean County, that little black box says Anita.
Oh, okay. It was just hard to see, and that's what I was trying to figure out. Okay, thank you. I thought it was just. I understand. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
Any other questions?
One more question. Talking about the outreach. Each county, each region, how do you ask for permission to be able to outreach in a different region? Or can you explain that again? Do we need to ask, see if anybody's already there, or how would we work that?
This is Carrie. Yes, if you want to do outreach, you will be working with the outreach coordinator, which we will be setting up in the next couple days, to approve the area or the professional or organization that you want to provide outreach to. And then we will just make sure that that's a good place to do outreach. We'll make sure that no one else is doing outreach there or has recently done outreach there before you do it.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. All right. Any other questions? All right, now hold on to your hats. It is time for the post test. What up? Okay. Question 1, we create 4 newsletters a budget year, true or false? Hold on, I'm still here. Give me a minute. We'll be moving on in a second. Oh, boy. Okay, hold on. Sorry. I'm not good at multitasking tonight. And I'm only multitasking between watching messages and, and reading questions. Oh. All right. Okay, I think, oh, poops. All right, sorry. Number 2, guys are eligible to receive the Parent Achievement Award, true or false? You guys crack me up. Excellent. Okay, question 3. Which of the following takes place during Mom's Night In? A, massages and manicures. B, dinner. C, presentations, D, sharing with other moms, E, all of the above except for A, or F, all of the above, meaning A, B, C, and D.
What number are we on? This is Anita.
We're on question 3. Okay, moving on to question 4. We now hold calls for all in spoken Spanish. True or false? All right, question 5. FEO events allow us to A, gather families to meet each other, B, share what Hands and Voices Guide by Your Side is with families who may not know, C, give kids an opportunity to meet other kids with hearing loss, or D, answers A and C only, or E, answers A, B, and C. Okay, I think we are all set. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.